What's up guys, thank you for joining me today for this special episode on AI in Titanfall. This is something you don't see in other first-person shooter games, and it adds a lot of personality to the game. Check out this smug bastard's face. Is he not so punchable? And this is from the makers of the Star Wars Battlefront. This is where they tested out the Stormtrooper's aim. But it's not always going to be like that depending on its class, and before you start judging them, you have to get a sense for what their purpose are in each stage of the game. And you also have to remember what it adds to the game, and not just the complexity of it and how it adds to the gameplay, but the aesthetics of the game is also a lot different from other games. I was just kind of mindlessly doing something else and I look up and I'm like, this is actually really epic. I gotta get my score up. I'm like, I'm ruining this shot. And the longer I watched this clip, the more I was like, this game is truly amazing. Look at the cannon come out as it shoots the laser, the smoke going on. People are trying to get into the dropship. You're trying to stop the dropship. Here comes Verone. He's like, no you don't. I'm going to protect my teammates. And because of his sacrifice, they do get away, remembering the tale of the lone Ronin that stayed behind. So what are we going to be talking about in this video? Well, let me break it down. We're going to be just showing off some of the AI. I'm also going to be showing you how they affect the tempo of a game from beginning, middle, and then of course the end game. The part that most people are probably familiar with are the end game. When the Reapers start coming out, they're shown on the radar, they give a good amount of points. Anybody who's really trying to close out a game will start going after AI because it's plentiful and some of them give you a lot of points. By that point in the game, there's also more Titans on the field, which is actually a consequence of increased AI, as well as increased Titans on the field because of the AI, which gives opportunity for pilots to shoot more Titans, which again gives you your own Titan. So it's this big cycle, and the game progresses first in the early game where just grunts are falling, and there's only a few key positions where they fall, and people are typically going to be rushing them. Now if you go into these areas and you manage to kill the pilots that's there and then also pick up the grunts, it adds to your multiplier, and then you may be one of the first people to get their Titan. The end game, you can be a lone Titan for a long time if you abuse the AI. You, for one, stop your own team from getting their Titans, and you're like, why would you ever want to do that? Well, the difference is that now you don't have to account for 2 Titans on the field that the enemy team can start shooting in order to build up their own Titan meter. And I think what was interesting about this run is just how it ended. A Reaper sniped me from the tower. Like, that was a ridiculous shot. And the AI isn't always going to kill you in this game, but it definitely adds another layer of things that you have to worry about. In the early game, you're not actually concerned about the grunts killing you. Like, it does happen, but it's not something that's going to happen often because their damage is low and their accuracy is poor. But what it does is it puts you on the map. That's why I prefer to use grenades these days, because if I'm playing against better players, they're looking at their map, and if I start shooting a ton of grunts, they're going to see you on the radar and they're going to come kill you. That's why I prefer to stay off of it. As soon as I saw a tone drop and the pilot was there, I'm like, look, he's already shooting at me. I'm like, ugh, I gotta get off the wall so the splash damage doesn't get me, gotta get off the ground. And I managed to make it out. But just like the other clip, it was kind of funny for me to get stopped in the middle of a run by AI. It just feels really silly, and you guys will see how this happens. But going back to the earlier point about the grunts and how it shows you on the radar, that is one of the key concerns about trying to kill AI in this game. Pilots are so fast, and when they see you light up and they have any kind of idea of where you are, they're going to be getting into that location quickly. So that's the actual problem with shooting AI, is that the pilots are going to see you. It's not the AI itself, at least not usually. What I like about the grunts in the early and middle game is how much it lets you get these little advantages. It lets you build up your meter for your Titan a little bit faster. It helps you get your core on your Titan a little bit faster. You're doing these small little actions that have a little bit of risk involved in order to get a little bit of advantage against the opposing player. And I like these things that just give you a small edge. In the end though, like what you're seeing here, I think it turns from a little to a lot. And I don't know how I feel about this factor, because I find that from here on you can just go on autopilot. If you have a proper Titan or you know the combo, you can see that my combo actually has to do with the mine, the laser, and then a couple of shots and they're dead. That's the most efficient combo I've found with Ion. Scorch just holds up his thermite and they absolutely just melt. Ronin can just use a shotgun, you know, he just unloads his kit and Reapers are dead as well. So all the Titans can do this. It's super quick, and you're going to notice how the game just ends. And do you want the game to end like this, or is it their responsibility to be blocking me as pilots? I imagine in a very coordinated game that would be the ideal, so I also understand what they're going for. But a lot of teams just aren't coordinated enough, and that's not the game's fault. That's actually our fault as a community if we don't understand how the game actually works. Going back to an example of StarCraft or RTS, you're going to notice that early strategies, they're usually awful. You're like, how was that ever a winning strategy? But as people progress in the game, they figure out the counters or figure out where they're actually supposed to be and what they're supposed to be doing in each phase of the game, which I think is something that people do in Titanfall, but they don't do it consciously. Like, you're not always looking for those early creeps at the beginning of a game in order to get your first Titan out, denying them their own by actually camping their AI, because that makes a big difference, especially if your teammates are playing different in the sense that they're holding back, then they're not building up Titan meter. If they're not able to go out and farm the AI because your Titan is now covering them, then again, they can't build their Titan meter. I think there's a lot of strategic things you can do. And look at the score right now. Me and this guy, we were so coordinated at the end. We knew what we needed to do. We're like, we need to kill some Titans and we need to start killing the AI. And look at us go at these guys. And we're like, okay, this is what we need to do. Gonna get some cover fire and we're gonna start getting this done. Check out all the Reapers that are on their side of the map right now. If I wasn't here to deny them, they'd easily be able to kill those Reapers and probably close out the game right away. And they would probably also have their core, so they'd kill me and get more points. You know, there's so many things that they can do just because of the AI in this game. You have to admit that it does add a layer of complexity to this game that a lot of people are not taking advantage of. Also, like in the end, if somebody is not ejecting out of their Titan when you're around 600 points and they're holding that doom state, you know that they're playing well, because that's exactly what they need to be doing. At that point, you're looking to deny all the points possible. I don't know why it's not getting on right now. That was weird. But look at what this other guy's doing. He's actually shooting at a Reaper while a Titan's shooting at him. That's how much he knows it's Reaper time. And that is a sign of a good player. And I know he died, but he made a decision. And I find that it's a hard decision to make sometimes. So when there's a lot of AI, you're like, 3 Reapers, but there's a couple of Titans there, and you start shooting Reapers, but you take some shots from a Titan. It's hard to strike up the balance of what you should do, but again, I think that's what makes this game actually so good when you start thinking about how all the creeps and all the AI work. I think I'd really like to see what really coordinated teams would be able to do with that. I think new opening game strategies would be able to emerge if you actually started coordinating around AI. Because we know that all AI spawns in the same spot, which means technically that you can set up around it. It's not random, which at times I thought it should be more random. And again, I'm not, I guess, 100% about the later spawns, but all the beginning spawns are the same. The dropships come to the same areas. You can slingshot off of them in the start of a match. Maybe there should be a little bit more variance to that. You know what I would like to see at the end of games? Titan damage and regular attrition. I'd like to see what some players are doing in regards to Titans, because I think that is a big part of the game, and if you're not contributing to that, you're a terrible person. So how do you want to kill AI in this game? I think certain guns have different advantages versus different Titans as well, especially depending on how you want to play it, but every pilot class can take out Titans. Can take out AI. Usually you're going to want to start out with your primary, and then as they get tougher, as they turn into Reapers and Spectres, then you may want to bring out your anti-Titan gun. I was watching streams, and some of you guys, man, I don't know how you guys start streaming so early, because they were using their anti-Titan guns against pilots. He thought his magnetic grenade launcher seemed like it would hurt a pilot, and I understand that. When you're just looking at it, you're like, hey, it could probably blow him up, but it's like, no. It doesn't. So you do have to know how your gun affects AI, as well as obviously pilots and Titans. For example, grenades are super lethal against pilots, do diddly squat to Titans, and do even less to things like Reapers and Spectres. It'll still kill Grunts, but that's about where grenades end. Satchels will annihilate AI. What else can you use? If you use Grenadiers, those also eliminate AI so fast. Now, I decided to turn around because I was thinking about going for a big flank, but I'm like, you know, it's too late in the game. At this point, I need to help them out and make sure that they're not losing their Titans or losing their lives, because that's what's going to give them way more points. You see how I have to actually take some shots to kill that Reaper, because I'm like, that's so important. Now I'm trying to deny him from getting his Reapers, because if he gets this kill, you know, they're one step closer to to actually finishing the game. And this guy's trying to run away because he's low health, and he's like, I don't want to give up any points. And I'm like, that is super smart. If he would have made it to the backfield with his shield, he probably would have lived. And at this point, I'm like, this is so damn close. We just need to either take out a couple more Reapers or get a Pilot and a Titan. And this game is practically over. Any kind of chip damage is important. Making sure I don't get killed while in my Titan is going to be super important. I'm like, I think I'm being way too aggressive. I need to back out. I end up putting my shield. There's also a Titan behind me, which I end up getting screwed by. So, you know, I goofed that. I should not have gotten put into that position. But here I'm like, just be a little bit more defensive. I got your back, buddy. But he ends up getting executed, which gives him the double points. And the game is over. Still, you have to admit that that was really close, and it's only because of the AI that it can get to this level and have more complexity than just being like, kill the other guy. I made a mistake because I jumped, because it gives you a little bit of a different engagement. It makes the pull also a little bit harder to control on the opponent's end, other than just staying on the ground and letting them get sucked in. For one, the speed is constant, so they may counter you. Second, again, it's just trickier to jump as well, and then reel them in and go for the punch. But you can see how it messed me up there, because then it let me get pulled towards him and get killed by the eject. Obviously, you saw that. Anyways, that's pretty much the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment. I'm going to be gone for the next week and be going camping again, so I won't catch up with you guys probably for about a week and a half. Don't forget about me. That's pretty much it, though. Again, thank you for joining me. I'm Paper. Cut to you, and I'll see you guys next time.